morning, sports fans, ASMR Sports. Back with today's vid. So here's a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. For the past, I don't know, 2-3 months. I've been really kind of trying when I can to pick up as much older, unopened sports cards as I can. And when I say as I can, obviously you can buy unlimited amounts of that stuff if you want at any time. But when I say I can, I mean it has to be, something I can get at a price that sort of meets certain requirements, which is that I have some hope of making a profit if I choose to sell it. Maybe it's a 1% profit, maybe it's a 5 or 10% profit, depending on the deal. But there has to be some opportunity to sell for a profit, which assumes I can avoid the 15% fee that eBay would charge if I sold it there. And of course, most times I can't, but I do hope to get more sales through my website, which only costs me like 3%, which is a credit card processing fee. And if not, the reason why I'm buying the things that I'm buying here is because they're all items that I think are awesome, objectively, and I don't mind holding on for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years. These are all things that, like most other cards, were much more expensive during the pandemic era. And when I saw them, I thought, man, I really wish I would have bought more of that stuff before, because I love it. I love all that stuff. And now it's too expensive to buy. So as prices have come down, a lot of this stuff is, down like, I don't know, 50% from, the pandemic era highs, which is actually maybe a little less than a lot of more modern stuff. But it feels like a bargain to me. So if I can get a little bit less than market price on these particular items, I snatch them up. Alright, so first we have 84 Donruss baseball cards. This card set is really just iconic for anybody who collected, in the 90s or before then, basically from 84 when this stuff came out until modern times. They just really did not make a lot of this stuff. I remember when I first started collecting, in around 87 or so, really 86, but that was just kind of like not very serious, and I got more serious around 87, 88, 89. This stuff was like, pure gold, very difficult to find, very expensive, and if you pulled Don Mattingly or a Dale Strawberry rookie out of here, you were living the good life. Those cards were, I don't know, anywhere between like $50 to $100 during the boom years. So this stuff just has a real, kind of it's a real soft spot for me. And before this little buying spree, I never owned a box of this stuff, except I did buy a box of this that was unwrapped. Everything you'll see here is BBCE wrapped. But back probably like 20 years ago or so, I bought a box back when I was just getting a few things to like decorate my office with, and one of them was an 84 Donruss box, and I'm sure I got it for a song back then. It was probably like $150 or something. I slowly opened those packs over time, and then the box was gone. So ever since then, I've been very sad not to have an 84 Donruss in my collection. But in this most recent buying spree, I've picked up a number of these boxes, all of them BBCE wrapped, and total of 4 of these that I have now. So I'm excited. I think these go generally for like between $700 and like $850 maybe. Make some room here. Okay. Next up, I'll probably try to go from like low price to high. Next up, now I have a number of these already before the last couple of months buying spree, but I have to tell you, I really love these boxes. These have always been like sort of the cheapest 80s football box on earth. Well, I should say the cheapest like 87 football box on earth, and for a long time you could pick these up for like $50 or so. I don't know exactly why that is. I mean, there's a pretty good rookie in here, and Marcus Allen, who was my favorite football player back when I collected as a kid. So maybe to me that means something, but not so to the rest of the world. But he's a Hall of Famer, so I don't know. I think that's a pretty good one. And there's also what's his name, the Chicago Bears guy, the quarterback with the spiky hair, Jim McMahon. His rookie cards, I think, are in here, and that might be it for like big names. But you know, plenty of Hall of Famers: Montana, 3rd year, and so forth. Lawrence Taylor, 2nd year. Roger Craig, 2nd year card. So I don't know. I do kind of like the design a little bit more than some others. So for me, these boxes are a no-brainer. I mean, they've gone up in value since those $50 days. Of course, these days you pay probably $400 to $500, depending on where and when you buy such a thing. So when I can get a deal on them, I do try to pick them up. So I've got I think maybe like 5 of these now total. The ones I picked up in the most recent buying spree are these two. They're both X-outs, so they have that black marker on there. The tops put on there to indicate X-out. Interestingly, you actually can you see a lot of these 83 Topps boxes, or boxes of 83 Topps football cards that come in the box that was used for 81 Topps football, which is kind of funny because 81 Topps football is very expensive because it's Joe Montana's rookie year. So you have the sort of cheapest box of cards that's wrapped in the one of the most expensive boxes of the 80s. So it's kind of ironic, I feel, but I have a couple of those 83 Topps boxes wrapped in 81 Topps boxes. In addition to these ones that are, in the 83 packaging. And Topps did that for a few of their sets over the years. They used kind of older packaging because they had, stuff sitting around, and there wasn't a year on some of their packaging, so so they were able to do that. And those 83 boxes in 81 Topps packaging are pretty common, actually. Sometimes I feel like they're more common than the regular 83 Topps packaging boxes, but could be wrong. Alright, so just one of these, but for a long time I've been kind of wanting to pick up some 87 Topps football. You see a lot of this stuff that's X'd out. This one is a non-X out, so it has a premium in value over those X out boxes. And I think I got a pretty good deal on this. Like, I think I paid less than what you would pay for an X out box, like on eBay, for this non-X out box. So it was a nice little pickup, and again, at the right price, I'm always willing to pick these up, but I don't see much. There aren't many bargains out there on this stuff. So they're a real tough one to get for, the pricing that I like, and consequently, this is, I think, the only one I have. Maybe I have one more older one, but I don't think I do. I've been sort of looking for 87 Topps boxes for a long time, and have not really managed to find any. And sometimes, one will come up on auction on eBay, and I'll put a bid in at what I think is reasonable, and then it'll go way past that. So I was pleased to pick this one up. It's in pretty decent shape. And again, a non-X out is a real nice addition. So yeah, I picked this one up a couple months ago, and I'm glad to have it. It's funny, that and the 84 Donruss were things that I was looking for quite a while, and then I found a guy that I had bought some other stuff from and said, hey, do you have any of, 87 Tops and football? And said, yeah, I got one box, and then, ended up showing me some other stuff, and I ended up buying a ton from this one guy. So let me see what's next here. Okay, well, actually I have some lower. Yeah, let me show you these because these are pretty low dollar items. But these next two boxes are non-sports, and they're, I think, some of the oldest unopened card boxes that I have in my collection now. They came up for a relatively reasonable price, and again, I think both of these boxes are pretty low value, but you don't see them a lot, and they're old, and I was happy to add them, I'll say, because I don't really have many older unopened boxes in my collection, and there are a few things like these two items that are, pretty inexpensive considering how old they are. And I don't have many opportunities to buy them, so when this one came up, I picked it up. So this is 72 Donruss Vote, and there's really no information about what is on here, so it's kind of funny. I mean, I assume these are pictures of some of the cards you can get in here, and they're basically stickers that just have voting, kind of messages on them. So I'm trying to think what was happening back in 72 that this would be something they would produce, but I have no idea. Not a huge American history buff, but I don't know. I think I had barely ever seen these before the one came up for sale, and I said, you know what, let me just pick that up because I think it's a decent price. And another thing is that this looks like it's in really good shape. I mean, this is the sort of thing I imagine someone pulled right from a case and sent in to get authenticated, because it's just really pristine. Really, all the corners are sharp, and it's very firm and sturdy. So that's good news too. And the same one came from the same seller. This is kind of a weird one. This is military uniforms made by a company called Chix, C-H-I-X. And I've seen these a few times before. They're often pretty beat up. This is a product made in England. It says printed in England. And Chix, I think, was an English company. What's interesting about this is there's a couple places here where you see there's a sticker over some other content, and underneath that content it says 3, I believe it says D, and I don't know what that would have referred to. I mean, if these were sold in England, then you would think there would be like a P for pence or something, but I don't know, there may have been an English denomination. Hey, you English viewers out there, let me know if that makes sense to you. This is from 1969, I should add, so very long time ago. So that's one place there's a sticker, and then over it it's a 5-cent sticker. So I think these were, maybe made in England and then shipped to the U.S. for sale here, would be my guess. There's another sticker over here where it says content 48 packets, and I think underneath it says 72 packets. So I don't know if they just had different configurations of this or what, but I don't know. It's pretty cool, and these boxes are pretty cheap, and this one is in super nice condition, very sturdy structure, and not really any bends anywhere. So really nice condition on this one, and it's now my oldest unopened box, but not even close to my most valuable, because it's just not very valuable. So anyways, I was pleased to add that for a decent price. Okay, now we're going to be getting up to boxes that I think are all over $1,000, and most of them are actually, everything is pretty much $2,000 or more. A lot of them are right at the $2,000. Well, not a lot of them, maybe some of them, but in any event. this on there was one video where I had gotten this in, like, right when I was recording, so I showed a quick little preview of it. So you may have seen this before if you watch all my videos, and thank you if you do. But this is a 1978 Topps football box, and I was super excited to get this. I don't see these come up for sale all that much, and I have one. This is another one that I've been wanting for a long time. Something about that 78 Topps football set is just super appealing to me. When I was a kid, a good friend of mine, who's still a friend, but he was kind of my main sports card trading friend. He had a bunch of old football cards. I remember he had 78s and 79s that, like, I think his dad gave him or something. And I remember looking through those a bunch, and I, got some of them when I knew football cards were going to be popular because they were coming out with a football Beckett. So I actually have a bunch of those cards still in my collection. A lot of them are just commons, but I don't know, that the fact that I saw these when I was, a young collector makes me just sort of more attached to them, and getting an unopened box of them always seemed like super awesome to me. So there's Tony Dorsett rookie cards in this set, and yeah, I don't know, what else can I tell you? This box is in really nice shape. I will say that the sticker, or the price little thing there, is kind of punched down, so that can happen, but other than that, it seems to be in pretty nice shape, not really bowed anywhere. And yeah, so I think these are generally about a $2,500 box of cards, and therefore, for a long time I wasn't really willing to spend that much on anything. It wasn't like a case of cards, but I don't know, I've kind of gotten over that and realized that, if I want some of these kind of older, like 70s boxes, I'm going to have to probably shell out some nice change in order to get them. So, next up, so one of the things I will never probably own is a box of 79 Topps, or 79 OPG for that matter, but 79 Topps is even cheaper, but it's still like a $100,000 box. 79 Topps hockey is one of the kind of, grails of unopened card collecting, along with like 86 Fleer basketball. So, very expensive, those two items. The 79 hockey has Wayne Gretzky rookies in it, which are very desirable, very collectible and valuable in the right condition. So I sort of have come to terms with that, and that's okay. And I thought, what do you do when you can't afford a box of, like the greatest hockey player on earth, his rookie year? Well, you get the second year, right? So that's what I've done. This is 1980 Topps hockey, so the second year Gretzky cards are in here. This is kind of a wacky set because, at least in the United States for the Topps product, they had like this little scratch off area on the card, and it's actually over where the player's name is. So it's kind of insane, because if you pull these cards directly from the pack, you can't see the name on the front of the card because it's covered by this scratch off material. The OPG cards from this year did not have that. They just showed you the whole card without any scratch off stuff. So I think consequently the difference in value between the 80 Topps and the 80 OPGs is significantly more than it might have been otherwise, if the cards look the same, but people really prefer to see the name of the card. And if you scratch it off, you basically, made grading pretty much non-viable at that point, because you basically altered the card. So in any event, how many cards are in each pack? Does it say? It doesn't say, but I feel like it's not that many because there are 36 packs in here, but the box is quite low. So that means there's not too many cards in each pack. The packs are a little thinner than normal. If you look at like a 87 Topps football box next to this thing, it looks gigantic. Like, look how much thicker. But both of these have 36 packs. But 87 and I think 86 and 85 all have like 15 cards. in them, so those boxes tend to be quite tall compared to some of these older ones. And this hockey one is like super low. This looks about the same height as like a non-sports Topps product from the 80s. So I think they have probably the same amount of cards. So anyways, I bought one of these, and I tell you what, I'll give you some numbers on this one because it's instructive. So Baseball Card Exchange has these boxes for like $3,200, right? So I had an opportunity to buy one for $2,500. And that price actually was like an offer I had made to somebody who wanted more for it. So it took a while, but finally the seller accepted that offer. So I got it. I purchased it, got it sent to me, and then I was looking at comps later, and like they were way lower than 2,500. They were like 2,000, 2,100, and I was like, oh crap! I think I must have messed up when I bought this thing, and not been looking at the right comps or something, because I paid more than I think the current comps are for this thing. So then I saw another one that was for sale, and it was like, I think it was 2,100. And by the way, neither of these sales were on eBay, in case you're sort of wondering which auction or whatever I bought them from. So I saw another one come up for like 2,100 at a site that is owned by another guy that I've bought from in the past. And I said, you know what, I gotta get that one, because I'm gonna do a little in investing, they call this dollar cost averaging. So if you buy a stock, the beginning of the month for $100, and then you see that stock again at the end of the month and it's $50, and you bought, one certificate at the beginning and one at the end of the month, then you've paid, basically $75 each for each one. So I said I had to get one that was cheaper and dollar cost average it, and that's what I did. So I guess I'm in about 250 or so for each of these boxes. And again, if you were to go to Baseball Card Exchange, which I consider to be sort of the price guide for retail, they have them for $3,200. I don't know if they'll bring that down or what, but I don't know. If I were to sell one of these, I would probably put it just at $2,500, because that's way cheaper than Baseball Card Exchange. It's more than, I think, some of the ones you see on eBay, but there's not a lot of these on eBay, so like the market can be a little bit fluky. Some of those low comps are like from auctions and nobody bid, and so they get a bad comp on there. So I don't know. I think those boxes have the potential to be like 3,000, or a little bit less than what Baseball Card Exchange is selling them for, but I might have to hold on to them for a while. Alright, next up we got a couple more hockeys. So this is another one that I had showed when I got it in. I got this at the same time as that 78 Topps football box, so that's why you might have seen this one at the same time. But this is 86 Topps hockey. There is actually no like major rookie in this set, but anybody who collects hockey cards knows that these are really hard to come by, and for that reason they just seem to have a higher value than you would expect, because there's no good rookies in there. There's a Mario Lemieux second year right there. But yeah, for a long time I've wanted this box. I'm pretty sure I bought like a pack of this when I was a kid, because they didn't maybe have baseball cards one day at the local convenience store, and they had this, and I said, okay, I gotta buy something, because I know I have a few of these cards around, and I'm sure I got them in a pack back in '86. But anyways, a really cool box, and for reasons I can't explain, I'm a huge fan of 80s hockey, unopened stuff, and so to have this in the collection, fills a gap that was previously unfilled, and I'm a big fan of that. So, like most 80s stuff from Topps, this has box bottoms, and this one has, this box has Gretzky, Yari Curry, Tim Kerr, and I'm not sure who that is, Michael something, or Michelle something, but to get is pretty sweet. And I believe these come in X-out form, but I'm not sure. But this is a non-X-out either way, so that's nice. Okay, next up, I think this is the most valuable box in this collection, but I'm not going to show it last because the other two are basketball, and I want to keep sort of with the hockey. So this is a box. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I was ever really going to own. If you'd asked me a year ago or so whether I'd ever shell out for something higher end like this, I probably would have said, nah, not really. This is 85 Topps hockey, and this is a very cool box because it contains rookie cards of Super Mario, Lemieux, the arguably second greatest. Well, we'll say the second great. Well, maybe not the second. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's in the conversation. He's certainly, I would say, maybe top 5, certainly top 10 all-time player. But a lot of guys like coming, since he retired, like Ovechkin and Connor McDavid, who's still very much active. Kind of maybe changed the list a lot, but anyways, obviously a pillar of the vintage hockey world, and to have a unopened box of the cards that have his rookie year. I've never opened any of this stuff in my life. Is pretty cool, and in the big boom, the big sports card boom of the pandemic, these boxes, man, they were like getting up there. I think they were like somewhere between like $10,000 and $15,000. So like I would not spend. I would say another box that. Well, I'll wait to the end because they relate to the two I'm going to show you here to close this out. But I'll tell you what the sort of like remaining, but potentially achievable kind of holy grails of my unopened sports purchasing / collecting / hoarding would be, because you're probably wondering, well, what is Amsterdam Sports now gonna go after if he's got some of these items that he's been looking for a long time? And I will tell you, because there are a couple of things that are very obvious for me to go after. All right. Next up, I have wanted to have some 70s basketball for so long, you guys. So long. Now, 70s football, 70s hockey, not so much 70s baseball, but at least two sports, hockey and football. You can get 70s, like late 70s stuff for relatively cheap, and it's not difficult to find them. I think like 78 hockey in particular is like under $1,000. And you can probably go on eBay right now and find like 5 of them. So if you want a 70s hockey box, it's quite cheap relative to other products to do that. But with basketball, it's a lot more difficult to find 70s stuff at anything approximating reasonable pricing. However, we are getting there again. Everything is dropping. Prices are down. So if you can find someone who's, reasonable enough to sell you something for, less than the comps on eBay, where they would pay a very high fee to sell, then maybe you can start to get a box for, a little bit more reasonable price. So these are 78 Topps. I should say these. Explain that I have 2 of them. So I found somebody that had 2 of them. Actually, the same guy that a lot of this other stuff came from. Made an offer, and he accepted it. And I said, okay, I guess I've got 2 boxes, 78 Topps football or basketball. So, anything 70s basketball feels like just amazing to me. This box is a little bit smushed at the bottom here. The other one is just fine. And also, if I recall, these stickers. These are really old stickers from Baseball Card Exchange. There's no hologram on them, and there's no. Now they put a special sticker on high-end boxes that has a serial number, and you can look up that serial number, and it'll tell tell you, I think, some information about the box. So these are older wraps, but again, I have no concerns whatsoever based on where they're from, and that's a good feeling, because you don't want to spend the kind of money you have to spend on something like this, and have to worry about its legitimacy. But in any event, yeah, 70s basketball I've been looking for. One time I was at a card show. This was in Minneapolis. I think like last year. They had their first big sports card show in Minneapolis. I went there. They actually had another one this year recently, but I didn't make it out there for that one. But there was a dealer there who had a box of 77 basketball, and I feel like I asked how much it was, and it was like 7,000, 7,500, something like that. And I was like, I really want this, but geez, I don't know, that's a lot of money. So I ended up not buying it, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm pretty sure that's gone down, fairly significantly. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a $5,000 box at this point, given how everything has dropped. But for me, 78 basketball is just as awesome as 77, even though, it certainly is less valuable, and it's significantly less rare too. I just never see 77s. 78s, 79s from time to time you do see out there. But, yeah, anyways, I'm super psyched now to have two of these basketball boxes from the 70s in my collection, and, maybe I'll list one for sale to possibly fund some other purchases. And so, speaking of which, I was just thinking, what are the real kind of holy grails right now for me in terms of unopened boxes? Well, two things come to mind, and I'm sure I can add to this as I think about it. But one that I've been wanting for a long time, or actually two that I've been wanting for a long time, but they're just too price prohibitive right now. So if the market drops any more, I'm probably going to go seeking these two. But it would be 1980 Topps basketball. Those are the ones that have the three little cards in one, and there's a card that has Magic Johnson and Larry Bird rookies, along with a Dr. J card. I mean, talk about a lineup, right? So that's sort of the quintessential, Magic and Bird rookie card. And those boxes were $100,000 a piece back in, the pandemic boom of 2020 and 2021. And now those boxes I've seen start to go for somewhere closer to like 15,000, I think. And before the whole explosion of the market, I think they were, probably $6,000-$7,000. So, they're certainly not back to where they were, and they may never be there. And I kind of hope they don't, because if they get back to their pre-pandemic price, then a lot of stuff I own is worth a lot less than maybe what I paid for it. So that would be one box I would love to have for the right price. I think I'm right in saying those are 15. I don't know. I might be a little bit off on that, but and then another box that's also basketball that I've wanted for a long time, and that I dang near bought one of back actually in the sort of run up to the pandemic stuff, is 87 Fleer basketball, second year of Fleer basketball, that many people say without firm evidence, but at least some anecdotal evidence, that those 87 Topps basketball boxes are more rare than 86 Topps or 86 Fleer football with the Jordan rookie. So they may have less valuable cards in them, but they're actually more rare than this iconic 86 Fleer basketball product. And so the theory is, if those are rarer, then they will become even more rare as people open those looking for gem mint cards, and then theoretically they could be approaching the value of 86 Fleer football, which is very high. Or I keep on saying the wrong thing. 86 Fleer basketball, which is very high. So right now, if you wanted a box of 86 Fleer basketball with those Jordan rookies, I think you'd be paying at least $100,000. And finding one is, fairly 97 Fleer basketball, the market on those boxes seems to be about, like, I would say, maybe like 9,000 to 11,000, depending on when and where you buy it. As a point of reference, the one that I had the opportunity to buy kind of during the run-up of the pandemic pricing, I could have bought for $8,000, and that was PPCE wrapped, as all of these really should be. You shouldn't buy anything that's not PPCE wrapped of this era. Unless you really know what you're doing and you can inspect it in person, then you're probably okay. But anyway, so $8,000 is sort of like a baseline where if it got down to there, it would be sort of not really pre-pandemic prices, but sort of like kind of not, I don't know how to say it. It's basically it's at a price where I think it can go no lower than $8,000. But again, I think the cheapest one I've seen is maybe, gosh, like 12,000 or something like that. I might be misremembering. It might be a little bit lower than that, but I don't know. At some point, I do think if they get low enough, that would be one that I would certainly be wanting to buy. And as I think about it, I think having some like late 70s baseball would be pretty sweet too, like 70, 78, 79. You see occasionally, and those are, about probably $2,000 or give or take. But back in the pandemic, those were like $8,000-9,000 boxes. As was like 80 Tops baseball was $10,000 to $12,000 box. Now those are like $3,000. So it sort of tells you where the market has gone in the last couple of years. But I don't know. Those boxes are all like just cool beans, and I love to have them in my collection. And so if I can just find them for the price that I think is appropriate, then I will pick them up. But yeah, those are kind of my grails right now. And in addition, I'm always looking to add, any older non-sports stuff. There's so much non-sports stuff out there. That's really kind of one of the most appealing things about it is there's, you look at, let's say the year 1985. Well, there was one Topps baseball product made by Topps in that year, and there was probably about 100 non-sports. I don't think that's quite right, but maybe it's close to like 50, but there were a ton of non-sports, products created each year, if you count, Topps, Fleer, and Donruss, all of whom are making non-sports stuff. Topps probably more than any of the others, but, so if there's like 50 times more non-sports stuff than, baseball, in a given year, think about how many non-sports items there are over the whole decade, and there's just a mountain of things that most of which I don't have. The ones that I sort of connect with most, and from the 80s, like the Goonies and Star Wars stuff, and I have boxes of that stuff, but there's lots of other stuff that I don't have and would love to get. And actually, I'll tell you one. Don't go and bid me up on these things if they ever show up on eBay, but one box that I didn't know existed until about a year ago is in like 91 or 2, Topps made a In Living Color box. And the In Living Color, if you don't know, it was a TV sort of comedy skit show, sort of similar to Saturday Night Live, but much more kind of, edgy and modern. It was sort of aimed at, I want to say like the hip-hop generation, because they had like, R&B/hip-hop dancers, dancing in between like the skits, and they had like a DJ there, and a lot of the cast. It's where like the Wayans brothers came from. Damon Wayans was on there, and I think Marlon Wayans was on there, and I think by the end they might have had one of the younger brothers as well. So it was a very, just more modern, more youthful, more sort of urban kind of show than Saturday Night Live or any of the other really comedy shows. And so, me and my friends, we all loved it. And it was also where Jim Carrey, got his big break. I think think he was in some movies maybe before then, but that was really what, made him sort of super popular. I think, Ace Ventura, was from a time like shortly after that show, so that was really his, big mark on Hollywood. And so, I don't know, it's got a lot of interesting things about it. It's also where Paula Abdul, I think, was a dancer on that show before she, started recording albums, and so that was kind of her big break. And I don't know, I always loved like David Alan Grier on that show. I thought he was like amazing. He didn't really blow up too much, but still, get David Alan Grier rookie cards. So anyways, it's a great show that I loved when I was a kid. It was kind of really aimed at, probably my demographic, which is, sort of like high school and college age kids from the 90s. And I had no idea that they made a card product of that show, but they did. And it's very rare, man. Those are tough boxes to find, and when they're available on eBay right now. I've been looking for a couple months now, and there's not been any for sale. There's maybe a few packs and some singles, but no unopened boxes. There's like an empty box that's for sale for like $150, I think. But no complete boxes, and I'm kind of kicking myself because like 4 or 5 months ago I was also looking, and there were boxes available, but I don't know. I just felt they were overpriced, and so I didn't pick them up. But perhaps I should have. So if those come on, then I'm gonna probably try to pick one up, and maybe I could find someone outside of eBay who has them. But I would love to have one of those, or 3 of them in my collection. So that's another one that's on the list, but mostly because it's rare, and I have a lot of sentimental, attachment to that, to the subject of the cards. So, all right, folks, that's what we got for today. Hope you enjoyed. Sometime I think I might also just do sort of a current, like, top, whatever, 20 most valuable unopened boxes that I have. A lot of the boxes that you saw here would appear in that list, but I just have a lot of stuff that I bought, not in the last 2 months, but maybe in the last year and a half, that, I've never really shown on video, and a lot of it's pretty cool stuff. So, at least if you like older unopened sports cards, so I might do a video like that relatively soon. I did one of those a while ago, and I think, yeah, that was like both sports and non-sports. That's what I would probably try to do here. I don't know if I have any super valuable non-sports boxes, but in any event, that's another one I may put together here soon for y'all to enjoy, and get you updated on kind of where my collection is at with unopened older boxes.